5 p.m. The snow will be heavy not too long from the onset. This travel is not recommended during the afternoon throughout northern Vermont. Snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour are expected from mid-Tuesday evening into early midnight. Roads during the Tuesday midday/evening commute will be snow-covered and treacherous. The snow should taper to snow showers across the interior during the evening hours, but the steady snow will continue along the Canadian border into Ottawa and Ontario well into the night. In addition, strong northeast winds of 25 to 30 miles per hour with gusts near 50 miles per hour will develop Tuesday night across the greater Burlington area into the Canadian province of Ontario. This will result in considerable blowing and drifting snow yielding visibility near zero at times and bitterly cold wind chills. The strongest winds are expected in South Burlington and Winooski. At this time, it looks as though most of greater Burlington-Winooski will receive 5 to 10 inches of snowfall by midnight Tuesday night, with the highest amounts across Ottawa. Rain and sleet may mix in with the snow from time to time. This would result in slightly lower snow accumulations there. This snowstorm is about 24 hours away, so some of the details will likely have to be refined, such as the arrival time of the snow and the rain-snow line across Burlington. If the system tracks a little faster than currently forecasted, snow will arrive a few hours sooner. Nevertheless, travel is not recommended during the afternoon, as we expect treacherous road conditions and extremely low visibility near zero. A winter storm warning is issued when an average of 6 or more inches of snow is expected, or for 8 or more inches in a 24-hour period. Travel will be slow at best on well-treated roads, and more difficult on untreated roads. Only call 911 in an emergency, as to not overload emergency lines.
Event type is winter weather. For Quebec City, at approximately 10:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Environment Canada and local Doppler radar detect a strong winter storm approaching the U.S.-Canada border, several miles south of Quebec City. According to information from the National Weather Service in Burlington, Vermont, this winter storm is expected to yield low visibility near zero, temperatures as low as 0 degrees Celsius, wind gusts of up to 90 kilometers an hour, and treacherous road conditions. As a result, travelers are to exercise extreme caution and have extra layers of clothing. Further information can be found at www.canada.ca/winterstorm-December 22/alert-info.
Message is transmitted at the request of the Chittenden County Sheriff's Office, the Vermont Emergency Management, the Colchester Police Department, and the Vermont Department of Transportation and Vermont State Police. Due to the winter storm over Colchester worsening, the Chittenden County Sheriff's Office, BEM, CPD, and the Vermont State Police are requesting all residents to avoid traveling on Interstate 89 and State Route 2. Residents moving northbound are advised to use Vermont Route 107 or US Route CCSO's Travel Safety Hotline at 802-891-1738. Repeating, due to the winter storm over Colchester worsening, the Chittenden County Sheriff's Office, BEM, CPD, and Vermont State Police are requesting all residents to avoid traveling on Interstate 89 and State Route 2. Residents traveling northbound to Ontario or Quebec, Canada are to use Vermont Route 107 or US Route 2. For road conditions, call the Colchester PD and CCSO's Travel Safety Hotline at 802-891-1738. Repeat, that is 802-891-1738. This has been an activation of Vermont State Emergency Alert System.
What's your emergency?
We got a train derailment and chemical spillover near Burlington, near State Route 2 and Interstate 89.
And what color are those chemicals, sir?
Seems like greenish yellow. My wife thinks it's a nuclear chemical that spilled.
Right. Deputies and a hazmat team are to be dispersed to your location now. Remain calm and away from the crash site. Thank you for bringing this to our attention.
To around the 30, so good field position for the Utes as they take over offensively, first time this afternoon. Terrence Kane, as we look at our quarterback profile.
And is such a great player at the high school and junior college level. One of the top recruits coming out of the junior colleges, and of course he knew he'd have a shot at
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Vermont State Office of Emergency Management, Vermont State Police, and the emergency management agencies of the counties of Chittenden, Grand Isle, and Franklin. A train derailment and nuclear chemical spill has occurred near Burlington near State Route 2 and Interstate 89. Major damage has occurred in hazardous and potentially nuclear chemicals are being released into the air and are likely to mix in with the already worsening winter storm. As such, the Vermont Department of Health, the Vermont State Office of Emergency Management, and Vermont State Police are requesting all residents within 20 miles of the derailment site west of State Route 2 and Interstate 89 to evacuate immediately. The Vermont State Office of Emergency Management will establish evacuation points in areas outside of Burlington, including Winooski, St. Albans, Essex Junction, and Alberg. Repeat, the Vermont Department of Health, the Vermont State Office of Emergency Management, and Vermont State Police are requesting all residents within 20 miles of the derailment site west of State Route 2 and Interstate 89 to evacuate immediately. The Vermont State Office of Emergency Management will establish evacuation points in areas outside of Burlington, including Winooski, St. Albans, Essex Junction, and Alberg. Leave immediately.
WXXX 95.5 is currently in emergency programming due to an active evacuation order for a 20-mile radius of State Route 2 and Interstate 89, including Burlington and Winooski. All regular music has been suspended until the emergency ends and the order is lifted by Vermont State Police. Stay safe. WXXX 95.5 is currently in emergency programming due to an active evacuation order for a 20-mile radius of State Route 2 and Interstate 89, including Burlington and Winooski. All regular music has been suspended until the emergency ends.
Do not evacuate. Do not evacuate. The following message is transmitted at the request of the Vermont State Police, the Vermont State Office of Emergency Management, and the Vermont State Department of Health. This is a correction to the hazardous materials warning issued at 12:20 p.m. After brief monitoring of the crash site, the nuclear chemicals are currently moving into the downtown Burlington area. In addition, after brief monitoring of the ongoing winter storm with the National Weather Service office in Burlington, the nuclear chemicals are, indeed, mixing in with the ongoing winter storm. All residents within a 20-mile radius of the crash site west of State Route 2 and Interstate 89 to Burlington are now requested to shelter in place immediately. Seal all openings with the plastic sheeting to prevent particles from leaking into your home. Repeat, all residents within a 20-mile radius of the crash site west of State Route 2 and Interstate 89 are to shelter in place immediately. Seal all openings to your home immediately. Remain tuned to TV and radio stations for further emergency information.
All clear. The following message is transmitted at the request of the Vermont State Office of Emergency Management. This is an all clear message from the recent hazardous materials warning and shelter-in-place warning. The nuclear chemical risk for areas within a 20-mile radius of State Route 2 and Interstate 89, after joint cleanup efforts, is over. However, Health and Public Works officials request residents residing around the area to be wary of particulates in the water system. Repeating, the nuclear chemical risk for areas within a 20-mile radius of State Route 2 and Interstate 89 is over. However, please be wary of potential particulates that may still be in the system. Thank you for your cooperation during this emergency.
The amount of sweat I put on this mini-scenario, well really scenario, is honestly more than I have ever had on any of my other ones. Not only that, but the fucking roller coaster of motivation I've gone through in the production of this from June 4th to now, from creativity burnout, to random dopamine spikes, to a dopamine crash, to this has been a wild ride. Thank you all so much for watching. This will more than likely be the last mini-scenario for maybe a couple days to weeks. Once again, thank you all so much for watching this wild ride. Feel free to check out Gwez. Techno out.